I was playing licks there that I've made using triads taken from an altered scale over a C dominant 7th chord. So first of all, what is an altered scale? Well, this is just an altered scale starting on C. And it's a very useful scale to improvise over a C7 chord if you want to have a very harsh kind of dissonant sound. What's attractive about this scale is it contains the 4 possible altered notes that you can use on a dominant 7th chord. D flat is the flattened 9th, E flat is the sharpened 9th, G flat is the sharpened 11th or flattened 5th, A flat is the sharpened 5th or flattened 13th. And the scale contains all those 4 notes. You can think of this scale as the 7th mode of a D flat melodic minor ascending scale. Now I know that sounds terribly complicated, but as long as you know your melodic minor scales, whatever dominant 7th chord you're on, play the melodic minor scale that starts a semitone above. So if you were on a G7 chord, play the scale that starts on A flat, an A flat melodic minor ascending. But start it on G. The scale, by the way, is also known, it has a very fancy name, a super Locrian scale. More often, though, it's referred to as an altered scale. Now, with any scale, you can build a series of triads by taking each note of the scale and adding a note a third and a fifth above it from that scale. For instance, if you take a scale of C major, take each note and add the note 3 letter names above it from that scale and 5 letter names above it, and you build a series of triads or 3-note chords. They're called diatonic triads in the key of C major because all the notes come from the C major scale. Now, by the way, I did a video about that. I'll put a link below. You can take the altered scale and do the same thing and build a triad on each note of that scale using notes taken from that scale. And we come up with 4 particular triads that are of special interest. First of all, the one on the 2nd degree, D flat, C, we start on C, D flat's the 2nd degree of the scale. And when we build a triad there, we get a D flat minor triad. On the 3rd degree, we get an E flat minor triad. Let's just look at those 2 chords. D flat minor contains the flattened 9th of C7, the 3rd, and the sharpened 5th or flattened 13th. E flat minor contains the sharpened 9th, sharpened 11th or flattened 5th, and the 7th. Now the next triad of interest is on the 5th degree of the scale. G flat, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we get G flat major. Now this triad rather contains the sharpened 11th or flattened 5th, the 7th, and the flattened 9th. And then the final one is on the 6th degree of the scale, A flat major. Now this contains the flattened 13th of a C7 chord, the root, and the sharpened 9th. So each of these triads contains 2 really colourful notes. So let's look at the licks that I played. I used the triads, but I also used 1 extra note, a passing note. So on the very first chord, I used a D flat minor triad, and I used 1 extra note, E flat as a passing note. That is the passing note. So I'm basically playing a descending D flat minor arpeggio, but I'm enhancing it with that E flat, the passing note. The second one that I did was based on E flat minor. On this one, I'm using an E flat minor triad with a passing note A flat in between G flat and B flat. So I'm just basically using the triad, but with the A flat as a passing note. So passing note G flat, E flat, B flat there, all chord notes, passing notes again, then down the triad. You notice, by the way, these triads, you can play them in root position, first inversion or second inversion. So going back to the D flat minor, you can play it there, there or there. And you don't have to choose the passing notes that I've chosen. You can choose whichever passing notes you like. The third one I based on a G flat major triad with a passing note A flat in between G flat and B flat. So I started off on the A flat and then just came down the notes of the chord. Passing notes again. And then I just sort of kept going up and down that little bit of the chord with the A flat passing notes in the middle. By the way, the left hand voicing that I'm using for C7, it's a rootless voicing. I've got the third, the seventh and the sharpened ninth. Now, quite often if I was using that kind of voicing, I would use the ordinary ninth. Perhaps have the 13th in as well. But when you're improvising using the altered scale, it's better to have the sharpened ninth there because you don't want the ordinary ninth clashing with the two altered ninths in the altered scale. The next one I did was based on an A flat major triad, and the passing note was B flat. So that's basically an A flat major triad in second inversion, and I'm using the B flat as a passing note. At the end, I did a riff which was using two triads. I used E flat minor and A flat major. And this technique called Triad Pairing is used an awful lot in jazz. It's not just on altered scales. It's taking all the triads that you build on whatever scale you're improvising on and picking two of those triads out that enhance the chord, pick the colourful notes of the chord out. So what I did here was I started off simply with a descending E flat minor arpeggio, put the passing note back in F again, then back up the chord, and then I went on to A flat major triad in first inversion, passing note, up to the C. These triads, by the way, it's the same concept as upper structure triads when you're using those to voice chords. I did a video about using upper structure chord triads as passing chords. I'll put a link to that below. So remember, you can use these triads in root position, first inversion or second inversion, and pick a passing note out, make a little pattern up, try pairing these triads. You don't have to use the pair. I chose E flat minor and A flat major, but you can pick any two of those and try and make little patterns on them. And you can come up with really infinite amount of different patterns using this. Remember, the altered sound is a very harsh dissonant sound. Often works well when you're in a minor key. It's really a scale that's only for dominant 7th chords, because dominant 7th chords are the only kind of triad, only kind of 7th chords rather, where you can alter those 4 notes. Hope you found that useful. If you did, give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and thank you.